The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to his disciples, "To you who hear I say, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. To the person who strikes you on one cheek, offer the other one as well. And from the person who takes your cloak, do not withhold even your tunic. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from the one who takes what is yours, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. For if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do the same. If you lend money to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners and get back the same amount. But rather love your enemies and do good to them, and lend expecting nothing back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High. For he himself is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and gifts will be given to you. A good measure, packed together, shaken down, and overflowing, will be poured into your lap. For the measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Let's talk a little bit about mercy. Mercy is one of those things that we need more of in this world. And mercy is one of those things that many of us don't understand it that well. But a good insight into it is this last line of the Gospel. For the measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you. The measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you. Think for a second, if God treated you the way you treated the person you like the least, how would God treat you? If God treated you the way you treat the person you like the best, how would God treat you? Both of those are part of your measure. Sometimes when you watch the news, though, it seems like our world has lost the idea of mercy. You watch the news, and it doesn't matter which side of the aisle or which channel you're watching, people are looking for who is guilty and when are they going to be punished and get what they deserve. I hope I don't get what I deserve. The measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you. The first reading is a wonderful one to reflect on. Most of you probably zoned out the second it named a desert that you had never heard of before in your life. Or at least you hadn't heard since 3 years ago when it was in the reading cycle. But that reading is about Saul and David. Saul and David. Saul is trying to kill David because Saul is jealous of David. Saul is the king. David has been anointed as the future king. And Saul is just angry at David. David sneaks into the camp, gets right up next to Saul while he's sleeping, takes a spear and a jug, and goes back to the other side of the battlefield. And he's yelling at the end from the other side of the battlefield, "Send your attendant over to get your spear and your jug back." What in the world is that all about? It's David proving, I could have killed you in your sleep last night, but I didn't, because that's not who I am. When we look out at others and demand justice, we need to be careful of what it says about us and our view of justice. An interesting thing in Catholic theology is when we look at God, His justice and His mercy are one. For God, justice and mercy are one and the same thing. The two of them are not opposing things, but they are two sides of the same coin. We need mercy, where we do not give people what they deserve, but we give them better than that. But that also needs to apply to the victims, the people who've been injured, who've been hurt. If we had a system of justice in which we just said, we still love you, go on your way, on every single thing, it would not be merciful to the victims. But if we have a system that says we need to get every last bit of retribution out of the person who's done wrong, that too would not be mercy to the victims. The victims. Because it would not bring healing to them. The old saying, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth leaves the whole world blind and toothless. I hear these words, particularly as in Rome right now is the meeting of bishops from across the globe about the child abuse crisis. And not enough can be said about the need for mercy for the victims, justice for the victims. And it's important for each one of us to look at ourselves and say, what am I doing to help? What am I doing to help the situation in our own families, in our own churches, in our schools? What am I doing to help? For the measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you. Right now, we may not have a lot of answers on a lot of different things. But it's important for each one of us to be engaged. To not zone out just because we heard the name of a desert we never heard before. But to be engaged both in our world and in our church and in our schools and in our society. To say, what can we do to bring God's kingdom here? What can we do to bring mercy, love, and justice to be one? As they are one in God, may they be one in each one of us. And may we be instruments of mercy and justice in this world.